Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 3697 AN. Today's date is July 29th, 2025, and the title of the episode is Business Confidence Rising. Trump is taxing the deep state central bank elite. Payback. Let's talk about protecting our wealth. Presenting My Digital Money, where retirement grows and stays safe. Experts say you'll need $4 million to retire comfortably, and with inflation rising fast, even $100,000 a year is now considered low income according to MIT. So how do you get there? Bitcoin may be the answer. It's already surged past $111,000, and top analysts say it could reach $300,000 to $1.5 million by 2030. That's the kind of growth that can turn $100,000 into $1 million in 5 years. But don't just grow your assets, protect them. With My Digital Money Crypto IRA, your Bitcoin grows tax-free and is secured in military-grade, military signature cold storage, keeping your assets safe from online security threats. Even better, your holdings are segregated from business operations, so there's no commingling and you never are treated as an unsecured creditor, unlike other platforms. Go to mydigitalmoney.com to get started. Grow it, guard it, own your future. Or just click the link in the description. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, the private West Central Bank, the World Economic Forum, you can see that their system is continually breaking down, and it's been breaking down for quite a while. But what Trump and the Patriots are doing right now, they are now taking this broken system and they're rebuilding it in a completely different way. Yes, Trump and the Patriots, they need to play within the central bank illusion. People are still conducting business in the central bank illusion. And I do believe this is why Trump, another reason I should say, why he's calling on the Fed to lower the rates. Because think about it, the people right now, since they experienced all this inflation, you have to remember the inflation is cumulative. The people right now, they have enormous amount of bills on their credit card. And as the central bank system breaks down and people can't afford to live, people put things on their credit card. Now, with high interest rates, this is very difficult for a lot of people. And when you start to look at the credit card debt, it's astronomical. And people are paying these very, very high interest rates on this debt. And I do believe this is another reason why Trump wants Jerome Powell to lower the rates. Yes, to pay the debt for the United States. We could save a lot of money. People paying their own debt, credit card bills and other items, that would also save them money, and it would make it a lot easier for them. But when you look at the credit card debt, you could see that a lot of people are having a very, very difficult time. Cobicia Letter on X put this out and said the following: U.S. consumers are piling into credit card debt like never before. Total U.S. credit card debt hit a $1.1 trillion in the week ending July 16th, matching a record high set in May. Year-to-date, credit card debt has risen by $17 billion. Since April 2021, it has surged a whopping $363 billion. That's an average increase of $7.3 billion per month. The worst part, this does not include buy now, pay later spending, which is projected to hit a record $116.7 billion this year. Americans are fighting inflation with credit card debt. And you can see this is a perfect example of how the deep state central bank system does not work for the people. And think about it. During this period of time when Biden was in the White House living there, this is what he created with the inflation. And the people, the only way to get around what's happening right now is they need to use credit. Think about it. Remove your credit cards. Remove all of that. Most of the people in this country, I would say the majority of the people, would have a very, very difficult time surviving. They wouldn't be able to pay for things because, again, they just don't have that much cash, and the cash doesn't really go that far. So think about it. People have to use credit, so this way they can pay it off with smaller payments. And this is why people are drowning in credit card debt. And I do believe that this is going to change as Trump ushers in the parallel economy, as Trump removes the private West Central Bank system. Remember, he's doing all of this while we're still in the central bank system. So basically, there's a system within a system. And Trump, eventually what's going to happen, he's going to give people relief. He's already given a lot of people relief with lower energy costs. He's giving people relief because he stopped the inflation moving up. So now it's kind of static and I mean, the cumulative inflation is still there, but at least it's not going up the way it was before. And I do believe the next round is probably going to be income tax, maybe a rebate. But you can see he's already giving people relief with no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. So I do believe as time goes on, as he builds the parallel economy within the central bank system, he's going to continually give people relief. And this is why I do believe he wants the Fed to lower the rates, because that would lower the amount of payments that people have to pay to the credit cards. And this would also give them relief. But we'll have to see how this all plays out. But I do believe most likely we're heading in that direction. Now, the other thing that's very interesting is we know that Trump was out in Scotland. He met with Keir Starmer and basically read him the riot act saying, listen, if you don't do all the things I'm telling you to do, it looks like Nigel Farage is going to replace you. And I do believe this is exactly what's going to happen because, again, the people of the UK are looking at this, looking at Keir Starmer. He's going in the opposite direction of what the people really want. And eventually what's going to happen, the people are going to rise up and say, enough is enough. We now need to get rid of you. We need to bring someone in that's going to work with the people and actually represent the people and represent what we want. But Trump, he let the UK and Keir Starmer know that the North Sea oil is a treasure chest for the United Kingdom. Trump, he put this out on Truth. He said the following: North Sea oil is a treasure chest for the United Kingdom. The taxes are so high, however, that it makes no sense. They have essentially told drillers and oil companies that we don't want you. Incentivize the drillers fast. A vast fortune to be made for the UK and far lower energy costs for the people. Now, do you really think Keir Starmer is going to go, hey, this is a great idea. You know what? I'm going to shut the borders. I'm going to drill like crazy. No, he's on board with the deep state, the World Economic Forum, and he's going to continue pushing the green agenda. And he's not going to look back. He's not going to listen to Trump. So basically what that means is that in the future, he will be removed completely, just like everyone before him. And we're going to see this probably in most of the countries because, again, the people are watching the United States. The people are watching what Trump does. And as the economy gets better and better and better here, as Trump moves away from the World Economic Forum's agenda, the central bank agenda, people are going to start to realize that, hey, wait a minute. Now, how sometimes you see something and think, okay, I need those in my life like yesterday. That was me when I first came across these Trump Never Surrender gold sneakers. These aren't just shoes. They're a full-on statement, bold, fearless, and unapologetically patriotic. I mean, just look at them. The gold finish, the red and white blue accents. It's like wearing a piece of American pride right on your feet. And let me tell you, they don't just look good, they feel good. The quality is legit, comfortable, durable, and surprisingly lightweight. These kicks aren't sitting in the back of your closet gathering dust. You actually want to wear them, show them off, maybe even start a few conversations. What I love most is the message they send, never surrender. It's not just a slogan, it's a mindset. Whether you're out making moves or just walking into the weekend, these sneakers are a reminder to stand strong and never back down. They also become a favorite gift. I mean, we all know someone who would love these, a big Trump supporter collector or just someone who rocks bold style. And here's the best part. Each pair is part of a limited run, so you're not getting some mass-produced junk. These are numbered, exclusive, and designed to make a statement. If this sounds like your vibe, or if you're already picturing someone in your life who'd flip for these, go check them out. Our awesome X22 audience gets a special 15% discount at the MAGAoffers.com/X22. That's MAGAoffers.com/X22. I'll spell it out for you. THEMAGAOFFERS.com/X22. Use that link to grab your pair now and take 15% off your order. Don't wait too long. These are going fast. Own a piece of the movement and step into something legendary, or just click the link in the description. The United States is going in the opposite way. Their economy is really improving. It's getting a lot better. People are happy now. And we're still going down the track of the central bank, the World Economic Forum, the Green New Scam, the Great Reset, and our economy is completely and utterly falling apart, and it's making it very, very difficult for the people to actually survive. So I do believe in the end what people are going to notice, they're going to notice a very, very big difference. And it's going to be as clear as day. Just like with Trump's tariffs, it's clear as day that the economists, the Fed, the fake news, the D's, none of them knew what they were talking about. Howard Lutnick put this out and said, 12 days ago, Time magazine put this out and said, Trump's tariffs make an EU deal harder to achieve, experts say. That's strange because he made an incredible deal which actually benefits the United States and not the EU. So once again, they were wrong. Alexa Henning responded to this and said, amazing how wrong reporters get to be time and time again and still keep their jobs. Nowhere else is that possible. Well, except if you're a weatherman. I mean, you can call the weather and say, well, sorry about that, I was wrong again. But they get to keep their job and probably even ask for a raise. Interesting. Now, the other thing that we could see is that all this inflation, the deep state, the central bankers, the Ds, all they've been talking about, we're going to see it any minute we're going to see it. It's been 6 months now. We haven't seen any of it. It's almost like the opposite of what they were telling us back when Biden was in office. Well, this inflation that you're seeing right now since he came into office, remember, it happened very, very quickly. This is going to be transitory. It's going to be gone by the summer. Summer came, summer passed, and guess what? It wasn't transitory. The inflation got worse. And you could see back then, the Secretary of Treasury, Janet Yellen, the head of the Fed, Jerome Powell, they had to backtrack on all of this, and they had to take action to try to control the spending that the spending problem that the D's had, because actually putting more and more currency into the economy, that is what creates the inflation. Stopping the spending, lowering energy costs, that actually stops the inflation. You don't even need the Fed to stop inflation. You don't even need the Fed to bring it down to 0%. This interest rate thing is doesn't mean a thing. It doesn't really work. They like to make you think it does, but it really doesn't. Because again, if you weren't borrowing like crazy and you were just keeping everything at status quo, you wouldn't see the inflation. But again, the Fed, they don't want you to know this. But you can see what Trump is doing right now with the tariffs. He's making the companies eat the tariff cost. This is why you're not seeing inflation. And it's actually really not inflation. You would just see increased prices because inflation means it's devaluation of the currency. Someone just raising the prices doesn't mean that that's inflation, because you can have one company raise the prices and you can have another company drop the prices. So it's completely different. But Unusual Whales put this out and said, U.S. companies are eating the cost of tariffs through smaller profit margins instead of passing them to consumers, keeping consumer prices stable for now, per Deutsche Bank. It's funny how they always have to add on for now, because they really expect something to happen. Because again, the Fed has been telling everyone that they expect to see inflation. Now, what's going to happen when we go through the latter part of this year and there is no inflation whatsoever? Is the Fed going to say, listen, in the next 3 years, maybe you'll see inflation. The next 10 years, you might see inflation. At one point, do we say, you know what, enough is enough? We haven't seen inflation. Yeah, if we see it in 4 years from now, okay, you raise the rates if that's what you want to do. But at what point do you say, okay, we got to call it here? And I think this is what Trump is doing. He's letting it go on. He's letting it go on. He's keep calling them out on it, pointing the finger at the Fed, saying, okay, here we are in September. Have you seen inflation? No, not yet. When the end of the year comes, have you seen inflation? Oh, not yet. He's making all these deals. Tariffs are in full force. Actually, as soon as August 1st hits, tariffs are going to be in full force. And you know what we're going to see? Nothing. And once again, what's going to happen? The Fed's going to have to figure out, what do we do? I do believe they're waiting for an event. I do believe they're probably waiting to see if there's going to be inflation from when everyone has to pay the tariffs. And we'll have to see how that all plays out, because when there isn't, what does the Fed do? Think about that for a second. Because already Trump has made a lot of deals, and I do believe he's going to be making a lot more deals, even after the August 1st date. And it's not going to be what the Fed has said it's going to be. Now, the other thing that's very interesting, and I think Scott Adams pretty much sums it up of what Trump is doing to the central bank, the deep state players, the elites. And this is what he says. Looks like the oligarchs are eating most of the tariff costs. Trump taxed the oligarchs while Bernie and AOC jetted around complaining about them. But Trump also opened new markets for the oligarchs via trade deals. They win too. It's called the golden age. And I do believe he is taxing all these oligarchs and basically making them pay and return the money to this country. Because remember, they've been stealing the money from this country for a very, very long time. And now all these countries now, every single time they export something to this country, they are now returning the money to the United States. So this is going to be very, very interesting as we move forward. But you can see that Trump, he's bringing manufacturers back to this country. And out in Arizona, TSMC, they're building this gigantic factory that's going to make semiconductors. It's going to be the most advanced semiconductors in the world. And right now you have all these construction people building the plant, and then you're going to have all these people working in the plant. Rapid Response 47 put this out and said the following. TSMC now has hundreds of jobs open in Arizona as expansions are underway. You can see where they're building Fab 3 right now. When that's done, it will make the most advanced semiconductors in the world right here in the valley. Absolutely. And this is not the only company. We're going to see many, many companies. And yes, the factories have to be built, which means people are going to get construction jobs. Those people that pave the roads, those people that work with pipes, electricity, insulation, roofing, you name it. And think about all the industries that have to supply all the steel and the aluminum and the windows and the doors and the furnishings and the carpets, you name it. All it's going to help every single one of these businesses. Now think about it. Take this plant, multiply by, let's say, 100 plants, and you're going to have a lot of people working. You're going to have a lot of sales, and then people are going to work in these plants. And the products that they create, people are going to buy them. As Trump continually gives relief to the people, these people are going to put money back into the economy. Now, I don't know if people are going to be buying semiconductors, but I do believe there's going to be a lot of businesses that will be doing this. Now, if we can lower the rates, this is going to make it even better for this economy. And you can see that consumer confidence has now jumped. The Consumer Confidence Index climbed to 97.2 this month, up from a revised 95.2 in June. Economists had forecasted a reading of 95.8. The rise was driven by improving expectations for business conditions, employment, and income, particularly among adults over the age of 35 across nearly all income groups. The expectations index rose to 74.4 in July from 69.9 in the previous month. So basically, you could see that people are starting to feel good about the economy. I'm not saying it's perfect right now, but people are starting to feel really good. And they're looking at business saying business conditions look good. If business conditions look good, that means people are going to be making more money. They're going to be selling more product, which means people are going to do better. People are going to feel more comfortable. And we can see that this has already begun. And I do believe as we go throughout this year, it's just going to get better and better and better. And what Trump is doing right now, he's building this parallel machine that will compete against the Federal Reserve. And as soon as he has the machine where he wants it to be, I do believe he's going to be making the next move. The next move is basically weaning us off the income tax, weaning us off borrowing from the Federal Reserve, weaning us off everything the Federal Reserve does. And at the same time, I do believe he's going to have Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent basically review the Fed. Now, he's going to keep calling for a review, but I do believe once Trump, the Patriots, get the people in the House and the Senate in place, I do believe it will be no longer called a review. I think it's going to be called an audit to see exactly what the Fed has been up to. And do we, the people, really owe all this money? Or was some of this debt driven by criminal activity? Just like when you start to look at the budget for the government, think about all the programs that money was being sent to. Do we really have to pay for these programs? Should the people be responsible for this? Did you actually vote for these type of programs? No, we didn't. So the same thing with the Fed. I do believe Trump is going to be doing the same exact thing. He's going to be looking at how many PhDs are working. He's going to be looking at what they've been doing. Why do we really need them? And I think in the end, he's going to say, you know something? I don't really think we need the Fed the way it is today. I think things are changing. And I think it's time to restructure the Fed into the Treasury and let the executive branch handle everything. Because it seems that they can't manage their own renovation. They have no idea when they should lower the rates. They shouldn't even be in charge of lowering or raising the rates. Actually, the market should decide that. And I do believe in the end, we will no longer have the central bank the way we know it today. And I do believe that's where all this is leading to, and which means that we will no longer borrow the currency, which then means we don't need the IRS, which means people get to keep their wealth, their hard-earned money. And eventually, I do believe we need to get rid of the Federal Reserve Act, the 16th Amendment, and we need to make it very, very difficult so the central bankers never, ever come back, which I do believe that's where all this is headed. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.